Hello world, it's your boy Pat Young, back at it again with an episode and the Rowdies, where I bring you all things Florida basketball from former players, coaches, whatever it may be, giving you some of the greatest, most interesting stories I've gotten to hear about the program that I love and an opportunity to play for it. This week's gonna be a little bit different regarding this episode, as we know there's been a big shift, a big change at the University of Florida. As you guys know, Coach Mike White has decided to leave the University of Florida after 7 seasons and has been named the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs right up the street in Athens after Tom Crean. Tom Crean is one of the latest coaches to be fired. Actually, was the first coach to be fired in the SEC, followed along with Conzo Martin and and Will Wade. Of course, Will Wade's situation was a little bit different, but this week's gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna get into that a little bit, but before this show, I actually had the opportunity to work and talk to my producer here, Jack Alperstein. Did I say it correct again?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah. Jack Alperstein. He's been following the team all this year, and I'm going to do most of the talking when it comes to the situation with Coach White. But thought it would be cool to give the producer someone that hasn't had a chance to show his face, along with doing all this podcast, of an opportunity to showcase himself. So, Jack, before we get into it, tell people a little bit about who you are and where you're from, what you're doing at the moment.
So I'm a first year journalism sports media student here at the University of Florida. I come from not too far away down in South Florida. And I grew up around the sport of basketball, played my fair share of AAU throughout high school. And then I really found my calling behind the camera and behind the computer screen. So ever since then, just kind of been working my way around.
That's awesome. South Florida kid. What made you want to get into journalism?
I think just being surrounded by sports my entire life. And I'm sure you've heard of overtime, balls, yeah, that kind of stuff. When I was younger, I just thought it was so sick. So
yeah,
I wanted to do it too.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you how did you play basketball in high school as well? A little bit.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Point guard,
shooting guard.
Favorite player of all time?
I gotta go with Melo.
Melo, okay.
Yeah, gotta
favorite go. So did you grow up, just whole families Gator fans, or you just found your passion for teams and sports and whatnot?
Honestly, the only other person in my family to come to UF is my sister. Most of my family's from up north, so we're big New York sports fans. But
I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah.
Not for the Yankees, but all the other teams.
The Knicks, Giants, not going too well.
Giants, the Jets, Oh man, how that happened?
It's been a tough couple of years.
So growing up, did you follow a lot of Florida basketball? You kind of know the history, Coach Donovan bringing the team to a second Final Four. Lon Kruger brought the team to a Final Four, the first one in program history. Then Coach Donovan was there for a good stint. Well, I played for him. Were you able to follow along with Coach Donovan's years a little bit?
Actually, I'm quite new to UF sports. Obviously, of course, I know Coach Donovan is a legend, and you had your great years here. But more recent fan, I'd say.
More recent fan. Well, you're being I'm kind of glad I get a chance to pick your brain in regards. So Coach White is you've known his style of Florida basketball probably a little bit better than you would know Coach Donovan, right?
Mm-hmm.
You probably watch a little bit more.
Yeah.
So in your looking, were you able to follow any of his previous seasons as well?
A little bit of last season. but not too much.
So, knowing, very new to the Florida Gator program, Coach Donovan, Billy Donovan being the legendary man and coach that he was with his success, and Coach White coming in to fill in, strive to fill in, fill in the shoes, because no one can, it doesn't matter who is before you, you want to be your own person. And I think Coach White did a fantastic job of that. But, seeing in I'm not sure how many exact years you've been following Florida basketball, but you've been watching all around. Where did you see the program comparing up to, other national programs across the country, even in the SEC?
So honestly, like a lot of what I notice is that UF is like more of a well-rounded, like work together kind of team than other teams that you hear about. Like you hear
Yep.
about like Gonzaga with Chet, like just like a team like that, for example, with a big name player, like especially like coming out of high school, like everyone's been following for a while. And like the team we have here, like Mike White has coached them to work together. And I think like that's a little bit unique, especially for the way like recruitment is nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. Recruiting is an extremely tough part, and I'm pretty excited for Coach White getting into a new market. Seeing how he's, how well is he going to be able to recruit at the University of Georgia, a program finished last in the SEC, finished 6-25 record this past year. It's not a school that's been really known for having much success in basketball. Actually, they won a conference tournament a few years ago. There was the whole SEC special on it because a hurricane was coming through, I think, the Georgia Dome when they were playing the SEC tournament, and Georgia was like an 8 seed, and they somehow just turned it on and won the SEC tournament and got an automatic bid. Literally out of nowhere. Like, we're having a sub-average season, and it just happened. But that's March Madness, man.
It's March.
That's but when I think about right now with Coach White, what he accomplished was, because what he accomplished at Florida, and what has not been accomplished at Georgia. Like you would think if he can go to Georgia and accomplish the same thing, made it a 4 in the last 5 years. Would have been 5, except the COVID year got canceled.
Yeah.
Made it to a final, made it to an Elite 8. They were that close to a Final Four. Having some tremendous talent come through the program. Colin Castleton, Lewis, Trey Mann,
Yep.
many guys before that. Really doing well with the transfer portal. Like him finding, there was a kid named Igor from Israel, and he could really shoot the ball. He was at Rice University before coming here. But I think when you have a 7-year sample size, and what Coach Donovan did and the expectation that was created for the University of Florida is very clear that we want to stay in that top range. And I don't think it was personal. It shouldn't be. I mean, no one, you don't want to make comparison, but from the level of coaches that the University of Florida has hired, Scott Stricklin and especially Jeremy Foley, giving more the credit to because he helped establish, he hired Billy Donovan. The character of these guys, the way that they represent the program, these guys were committed to never cheating and never did. The way that they really loved upon their kids and were straight shooters. What I love so much about one thing that I could compare to Coach White and Coach Donovan, they're both everyday guys. And what I mean by that is every day in the practice, the energy, the positivity, the intensity, it's literally the same and it's authentic. And it helped me to challenge myself, saying like, why can't I show up every day? Because guess what? I can control my effort and my attitude. I think that's something that definitely gets taken for granted because, a few of the other big time name coaches at successful programs have been accused of or just been around some, or just no, rumored around that they're paying players under the table and all this and that.
Yeah.
Getting investigated, and we saw what just recently happened with Will Wade. That investigation was going on for like 5 years.
It's crazy.
And now with the way that things are with NIL, Jack, is tough. It's tough when your school, your university doesn't see the vision and wants to try to be like right on top of the NIL stuff. Like Coach Cal, Coach Saban, those guys are like, this is not going to affect my recruiting. Whatever we need to do to make sure kids want to, and it's not breaking the rules. You can't pay to play.
Yeah.
That's against it. But we got news of Coach White after a tough season, having Colin out for a while, still not doing the right thing in granting Keontae Johnson another scholarship year in order to see if he was to get cleared to play. But even if not, giving that kid an opportunity to stay with the team, because we're so very fortunate that Keontae Johnson is still alive and with us to this day. But Coach White decided to make a change and get a fresh start at the University of Georgia, which, as we were just saying a little bit before, nobody had the idea. When you saw the news, what did you think?
Honestly, like, it was like shocking, because like normally, like, when a change like that is being made, there's kind of like some speculation like beforehand, and sure, like, people have their opinions, but I never really saw anything like official, like something leading up to this. So I got the notification. I was like shocked.
Yeah.
To me, it came out of nowhere.
And I get it with the standard and the expectation of Florida. Like, when I think of Florida sports, Coach Bruce Pearl said it about Auburn and what he's done with that program this year. Like, this is not a football school or a basketball school. This is an everything school. Yeah. And with the way that the program has grown over the last, 50 years, and the success in lacrosse and soccer and track and field, there's just the Gator standard. Like, hey, we're going to be competitive and not just accept mediocrity. And I get it. But we also got to have an understanding, like, recruiting and bringing in mature players that get it, injuries that happen. Like, there's so many factors that affect winning and winning at a high level. That's why it's, you look at Kentucky, and yes, they when it comes to the SEC, obviously they've dominated there. But as far as when it comes to March Madness, that's a different animal. It is so hard. Like, my team, we were the best in the country my senior year, and we ran into a 6-seeded UConn team that was just on the top of their game, and they knocked us out. But I get it. Some criticisms that I would say that I have when watching his team, Coach White's teams out there sometimes, is the shooting. Early on, it was free throws. That was a big issue. Who would have thought that? But that's, the coaches don't take the shots.
Yeah,
they don't take the shots. But I think in his first early years, losing John Ubunu, who was such a dominant big, forced him to change their entire offense, because they did that could really protect and pound the ball in the paint. Then he lost an entire class of guys that, from injuries or just transferring out, just wasn't the right fit. And then did a pretty good job with a team that no one really expected to go to a Final Four, which a shot that none of us will ever forget, Chris Chioza in the championship. Nobody will ever. Oh my gosh, I remember where I was when he made the shot. I wasn't watching the game. I was texting somebody, and they were like, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? They lost." So, what are you talking about? They lost the game. It's over. And then I turned it on. I started freaking out. But I think it's unfair for anyone to look at Coach White's situation and not just be happy for. I look at it this way. I'm happy for everyone that Coach White is out doing what's best for his family and getting a fresh start, a new opportunity where he can create something in that, Florida can get a new start, because it seems as though A lot of people just weren't happy with where the direction was. I was very shocked. I was shocked. I came to love Coach White. Fantastic guy. But, at the end of the day, I want him to do what's best for him and his family. I want him to feel loved and appreciated where he's at. And I think that he's going to do that. I think he's going to do that at the University of Georgia. She's got a fan in me. Even when, and I might be cheering for him a little bit. Hope for him to do well. Maybe at least for when Florida comes to Georgia for the basketball game, that he might steal a win. Just saying.
Really?
Maybe one.
Wow.
But when it comes and that fans, when he comes back to the University of Florida, that we can give him some love and respect. You don't listen. You don't have to. If you didn't love him, you don't have to cheer, but you don't have to boo. You don't have to boo. The man, night in and night out, best job that he could do with this team. Took ownership when he made mistakes, pushed his guys, loved wearing, was so great. He was so grateful, and that's what I loved about him. He was so grateful when it came to the program, and Coach Jeremy Foley hired him, and he was just like, "Are you sure? Like, are you sure? You sure? Me? Yes, I'll take the job." But I gotta say, I was expecting maybe if Ole Miss opportunity was going to open up, I was thinking something like that, and not so soon. What do you think because I know it happens in football often, but like when coaches leave before the bowl game
Oh,
at the end of the season?
I mean, honestly, it's like a little bit weird to me.
Weird.
Like you want to win a bowl game, like no matter where you're playing. Like when you're a coach and you like kind of leave your team like stranded almost. Like I don't know. I think like common courtesy would be to wait, but you never know what's going on.
Yeah, I definitely thought that because there was who was the coach that I always mix his name up. The coach from Notre Dame that just went to Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly, I think Lincoln Riley did it as well. Left for
that was a big one.
Home to USC, and I'm just like, dang, like, you have a relationship with all those kids. Did you let them know, or you just like, dang, coach is out? But again, I think it often gets overshadowed, the sacrifice that coaches make. I think when it comes to their families, like, man, they don't get much time. It's the choose, but they do it because it's their passion. And wishing nothing but the best for Coach White and for him to hopefully do the same, if not more, for the University of Georgia, because that means he's turned a program that finished last place in the SEC into contenders, into winners, into teams that can make the tournament. Because once you make the tournament, anything can happen.
Happen, yeah.
Did you? So let's shift it a little bit, and I'll give you a chance to break it down. So when you saw the bracket,
mm-hmm.
what were your first reactions and thoughts?
Definitely, where's Texas A&M?
Yeah. Where's Texas A&M, and why is Tennessee a 3?
3.
Like, I get it. I want you, like, whoever are the committee, just admit that you wanted Duke to play close to North Carolina.
Yeah,
just admit that.
Yeah.
Because it didn't make sense at all. Looking at the analytics from Tennessee to Duke, they had zero quad 2, 3, or 4 losses all year. Duke had 4. Duke did not win their conference tournament.
Nope.
Duke only had 6 or 7. Oh, and I'll be generous. So they had 8. I know they didn't have 8, but quad 1 wins. Tennessee had 11. Before we move on, let me tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at BetRivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up with BetRivers yet, now is the time, because they are offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. But what sets them apart is that they require just one play through to turn your bonus into cash money. With their new Rush Pay Instant Approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. With basketball season tipping off, get in on the action by going to BetRivers.com today or by downloading the BetRivers iOS app. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Baffled. But yeah, Texas A&M as well. You know, it didn't help that they lost 9 straight games.
Yeah.
Gosh. I was in disbelief. Did you get a chance to watch them a little bit this year?
A little bit. I watched the first game against UF when that was a tough loss, and especially in the SEC tournament when that was a heartbreaking loss for us.
Oh man, yeah, both of them were tough. This year's team, I mean, they just sometimes really struggle to score the ball, and they turned the ball over a little too much. Just turned it over a little too much. But it's crazy, like the shots and mistakes that they made to lose games. They made those shots. Well, the one mistake that they did year round was fouling the 3-point shooter. I was going to strangle somebody through the TV.
Oh. I don't know if you caught this, but towards the end of regulation, there was one player on Texas A&M. UF was inbounding the ball, and they needed a 3. And one defender for Texas A&M was in the huddle with the guys, and they had the camera on him, and he was like be smart, telling all the guys, and they inbounds the ball, and that's when I believe it was Kawasi Reeves hit the and 1-3 on that defender who was telling him to be smart.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It was funny because they literally 5 seconds earlier showed this guy being the floor general, telling everyone to be smart, just keep your hands up, and he's the one that ended up fouling him.
Hey, that was a big time shot. I couldn't believe it. I thought Florida had a chance. But I can't remember who took the last shot, but it just was a poor shot choice at the end there. But the defense wasn't as tight as it had been earlier in the season. They been so many games Florida just was playing catch up, never was really having an easier without Colin Castleton. It was apparent that there was really some struggles with this team. But yeah, that was looking here. Hey man, this is what's so crazy. This is what's so crazy now with the transfer portal and college basketball in general. Everyone can whoever is left that had potential, like Kawasi could transfer, Niles Lane could transfer, no, I don't think CJ Felder could. But there's so many just like that. 1 year you can just transfer out to somewhere else, and then I think 5 or 6 guys have graduated and moved on. So this is going to be what I'm getting at. This is going to be a completely different roster next year. Completely different roster. And with how tough recruiting is in general, and with the transfer portal being the way it is now in high school basketball, where you can go straight to the G League Ignite or overseas, I am so curious as to what the team is going to look like next year and what the style of offense is going to be. Is there anything in particular that you like to see?
Better ball movement and shot selection is honestly huge for me. There are a lot of times like a shot will be taken and it kind of has me scratch my head.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know if Florida would be able to, this is the hard thing about coaching or coach hiring. And I'm sure Scott Stricklin and the crew and Jeremy Foley, I'm sure they all have been working on their list and whatnot. But a lot of the coaches that you want are already at pretty good jobs, pretty cozy positions where they're they got no reason to leave. Families, everyone's good. They're winning.
Right.
First person I was thinking of was like, hey, Coach Nate Oates' basketball style of play would look fantastic in the orange and blue. They had a pretty rough year, up roller coaster every year at Alabama,
Oh my.
roller coaster. But I don't know, like, how do you? Everyone's like, money talks. I'm like, once they hear, like, they're going to offer him a contract to stay there forever versus him coming to Florida or anybody else. Some people are saying like Scott Drew would be to think of, trying to go for Jay Wood. These guys are all at great spots. Jay Wright, spots that they're happy, so
Absolutely.
anybody that you can think of for a coaching hire, I have no idea.
Honestly, I've been trying to like in my head like come up with like possible good fits, and I really have not come across anything.
What would be the expectation for you for a first time head coach at the University of Florida? Like, do you have to come in and be a contender right away? Be a SEC and make the NCAA tournament first year?
I think the like it's a process, so show improvement, you know, like cut down on stuff that has gone badly in the past and maybe improve on other things, but I wouldn't say necessarily become a contender right away. If you do,
Yeah.
great bonus, but I don't think it's an urgent matter in like a first year situation.
Yeah. This league is just so hard.
Oh
It's so
yeah.
hard. You have to be able to. You got to get some big time transfers. You got to get someone like an Oscar Sheboy. Can we get like five, like two of those? He makes me feel like he probably would have punked me in college. Don't you agree?
Yeah, the players are different this way. I mean, now my
Man, yeah, he's unbelievable. But yeah, man, what a strange time for who's the interim coach? Do you have any idea?
I do not know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they're in the NIT. I'm not even sure they're matching up with
Iona.
Iona. Oh
Yeah,
man,
tomorrow.
Rick Pitino. They could lose that game. Iona beat Alabama this year. I'm surprised Iona didn't win their league to get the automatic bid because they won it last year. Interesting.
The game is here. Well, in the O'Connell Center. So
What day is it?
tomorrow, Wednesday.
Ooh, I could go. Nah, I'll watch it on TV. I'll watch it on TV. Um, shoot, I just want to ask you one more thing. Gosh. Oh yeah. What have you filled out a bracket? Have you filled out a bracket yet?
I have. I have.
Talk to me about it.
Um, honestly, I think that this year is like gonna be full of upsets. Um,
Okay.
especially as we've seen all season, Auburn dropping some games, Baylor dropping some games, especially that one weekend where the top
Oh
six
yeah, that was
teams in the
crazy.
nation all lost in
7
the
out of the
same
top
day.
10.
Um, but one team that I think has been consistent all season long has been Arizona.
There you gonna say that? Yep.
Yeah.
It's the potential for, I think, gosh, I don't even know who to say has the strongest or the toughest path to the Final Four, because Tennessee potentially would have to play Villanova and Arizona.
Yeah.
And Villanova, and I hate that the Joe Lenard is using that one game that they got beat by 20 points. Everyone, like, how many times Kentucky got, or not Kentucky, Duke got blown out by North Carolina at home. But shoot, that'll be the only Arizona has 3 losses this year, and one of those is from Tennessee. I think they're both teams that they play united, they play together. They shoot the ball well, they defend. Arizona's they both have guys projected in the first round. I forgot the matchup potential I had in the West. It was Gonzaga and someone I have not filled out a bracket. The only bracket I filled out was at work, and I didn't keep it because I thought I would do it again later. I just haven't got to it yet. I had Kentucky and Baylor in the Elite Eight, and I had Auburn and Kansas in the Elite Eight as well. I think Walker Kessler is going to like disrupt everyone's game plan because he's just unbelievable at protecting the rim. I don't think a lot of teams don't face anything like that all season. I think he's going to be just like he's averaging like 5 blocks a game.
I mean, you don't see a lot of 7-1 guys.
He barely jumps, and he's just like on the rim.
But I think a big thing for him is that he can also stretch the floor.
Yeah.
So you gotta step up on him if he's out there.
Yeah, it's a slower shot, but if he knocks down one or two, if he knocks down one, you got to respect it. And that just keeping the big man away from the paint because he has to play defense on his guy that can shoot just opens up opportunities for the guards to get to the basket a little bit more. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Did you get a chance to watch the SEC tournament?
Honestly, after the UF loss, I just went away from it. That game was full of emotions.
Yeah, that did. It took it out of me. It took it.
Yeah.
Well, Tennessee looked really good. They literally just suffocated Mississippi State. So got Oscar Tshiebwe to foul out. I think he's only fouled out one other time this year. And then Texas A&M, it was 14-0, like 5 minutes game. So they're playing at. They look scary. They look like the SEC. That's what they look like right now. The regular season too.
Do you have any team that you think could be a bracket buster? Like, who would be your bracket buster this year?
Like how Loyola, Chicago, or whatever, or Marymount going to the Final Four, or UCLA last year going to the Final Four from the first out that was as an 11 seed.
Especially that Virginia loss in the round of 64 a couple years ago.
Right. Oh, shoot, Jack. I think Davidson could do something. I think Wisconsin, but they're not like a 10 seed. Who's at a 10? North Carolina and Marquette. That's an 8-9 game.
Yeah.
I could see one of them making a good run, especially how North Carolina played against Duke. Marquette, if they get on a streak, they're really good. They can beat anybody. I can't wait to see what Providence does after winning the Big East. But I don't know enough about the the smaller schools. I think Ray Harper, that's the coach of the St. Petersburg, that's playing St. Peter's, that's playing Kentucky. Him and Coach Cal, they were rivals, a few years ago before Coach Cal got to Memphis. Can't remember what league that was, but he's really going to try to win that game. He's really going to try to beat Kentucky as a 15 seed. That would be wild. There's no way.
Never know. It's March.
There's no way. I'd hate to see that. Any other thoughts?
Honestly, I'm just ready to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. Like, this literally is, one of my favorite times of the year. And I wasn't watching that much college basketball when I was playing overseas. Kind of just we filled out brackets, but I wasn't really locked in the games. But now working with the SEC and knowing the storylines, like, I am a full fan. I am a full fan. I can't wait to see what this entails. I wish the Gators were in it. Wish they were, seated high or just in a position where we had like that high hope and expectation that something special could happen, but just not. You got to learn to live with the bad, to live with the good, and understand, hey, winning is hard.
That's right.
Winning, and not only winning and achieving greatness, but maintaining it year in and year out when there's so many moving parts for teams each year. So that just has to give us a much greater appreciation for when we do get a chance to see a team do something special. Because there's only, usually at the end of the day, there's only one. That's how I remembered.
That's the great thing about college basketball, though. The dynamic is changing every season. So
it's going to be weird without Coach K being out there.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
It's going to be weird. Next year will be the first year without Coach K. I appreciate that, dude. Even though I never, I'm not a Duke fan, I'm not a Duke hater. I often sometimes get. It's okay when they lose. I didn't want Coach K to lose on his last night in Cameron. I did not want that to happen.
Yeah.
Really hope they can at least make it to the Elite Eight. But yeah. Well, Jack, this episode was a little different than the usual, but I still enjoy it. Definitely different circumstances. A great man and leader, and someone that was a great ambassador for the University of Florida. His time has come to an end there, and hoping for our fans, everyone listening, that whoever's going to be the next hire, I have no idea. Maybe someone from Coach Donovan's circle, his tree, maybe like an Anthony Grant from Dayton, have no idea. Donnie Jones down from Stetson, these guys that Coach Rob Lanier at Georgia State just took them to the NCAA tournament. It's guys all around under that Coach Donovan tree. So I trust that the program will make the best decision to put us in a position to get where everyone's happy. But hey, like I said, we're Gator fans, not just for wins and losses. Of course, the wins are always great, but because we love the organization, we love what it means to us, to our families, the traditions. And it's, I know it's cliche. I know it's cliche to say, but it is great to be a Florida Gator.
Right.
It's great to be a Florida Gator. But Jack, I want to thank you so much for your time, bro. Can't wait to do it again. Season's almost over.
Yeah,
by the time we do this again, we'll be like first weekend done.
Right. Thank you for allowing me to share the camera space with you.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Well, you have a great one. And everyone, Gator Nation, in all kinds of weather, stay rowdy.